A group of ballet dancers from Los Angeles is training intensely for a major competition in Budapest, Hungary. At the center of it all is a talented young dancer named Bones, who holds the position of lead performer. But that spotlight creates tension, especially with Princess, a wealthy girl whose parents are funding the entire trip. The group lacks unity. Princess constantly causes trouble, hoping to replace Bones as the lead. Eventually, the tension boils over and Bones lashes out physically. Their coach, Miss Thorna, steps in to discipline her. But Bones admits she never even wanted to be a ballerina in the first place. The truth is, she is only there because Miss Thorna believes deeply in her talent. Not long after, the group flies to Hungary. With limited funds, they are forced to take a rundown bus from the airport. Unfortunately, the bus breaks down in the middle of a forest. With no other option, they continue on foot until they arrive at a remote hotel called Tamok Inn. When they get there, Zoe is surprised to find such a beautiful place hidden in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, Grace feels uncomfortable staying in a hotel filled with gambling, given her strong religious beliefs. Zoe's younger sister, Chloe, who is mute, becomes instantly fascinated by Artyom, a charming singer who also happens to be the owner's son. Bones soon realizes that the hotel owner, Devora, used to be a ballerina herself, something confirmed by a staff member named Osip. With no spare clothes, the group ends up staying in their ballet outfits the entire time. Around that same moment, a dangerous presence arrives. A mafia boss's son, named Pasha, enters the hotel with his guards, sent by his father to collect protection money. While this is happening, Chloe signals that she needs to go to the restroom, and Miss Thorna accompanies her. The rest of the dancers begin practicing, following the sound of a piano, and soon they are dancing on stage. But things quickly take a dark turn. Chloe's hearing aid gets wet, leaving her unable to hear anything. At the same time, Miss Thorna wanders around and accidentally discovers a horrifying scene. Devora and her men are torturing someone in a hidden room. Shocked, she immediately runs away. Believing Chloe has already left the restroom, Miss Thorna panics and starts searching for her. But before she can do anything, she runs into Pasha. He approaches her in a disturbing way, and when she fights back, she kicks him, leaving him in pain. That single moment sparks retaliation. Pasha does not let it go, and what follows leaves the entire group of ballerinas terrified and shaken. And in that moment, their elegant world begins to turn dangerous. This is pretty lethal. Deborah quickly steps in to calm the situation. She reassures Princess that she will contact the police and ask the group to wait in a separate room. But Bones senses something is wrong. She realizes Devora has no intention of helping them. Instead, she is trying to silence them. Bones attempts to escape, but she is struck and knocked unconscious. Not long after, all of them are taken captive inside the inn. Osip drags 3 of them down into the basement. Grace is struggling to breathe from panic, so Osip offers her something to calm her down. What she does not know is that it is a high-dose narcotic. Meanwhile, Chloe remains completely unaware of the danger around her, especially with Artyom distracting her attention. To deal with the situation, Deborah brings Pasha into her private room. She demands the protection money back and threatens him with CCTV footage showing him shooting Miss Thorna. If his father wants the money returned, Pasha is told to call him to the hotel. The truth is, Devora has invited the mafia boss, Markovich, many times before, but he has always ignored her. Now she finally has leverage. When Bones regains consciousness, she finds Sonia interrogating Grace. Because of the drug, Grace answers everything honestly without resistance. At the same time, Devora calls in someone known as the Doctor, a cleaner who specializes in getting rid of bodies. While waiting, she removes the bullet from Miss Thorna's body and burns their passports, making sure no one can trace them. Taking advantage of a brief moment without supervision, Bones carefully frees her hands. But neither she nor Grace realizes that Osip is watching from outside. He has been holding back his disturbing intentions toward Grace this whole time. Sensing the danger, Bones pretends to still be tied up. The moment Osip makes his move, Bones strikes first. She drives a sharp object straight into his eye. Even then, she is still outmatched. Princess and Zoe are frozen in fear, unable to react. But Grace, despite being under the influence, tries to help. That small opening is enough. Bones seizes the moment and fights back, using her ballet training to overpower Osip. Elsewhere in the bar, Deborah instructs her men to keep pouring drinks for Pasha and his guards, making sure they get heavily intoxicated. It is clear she is setting something up. Outside, the doctor finally arrives and is welcomed by Devora. At the same time, Pasha is already planning to kill all the ballerinas and take the CCTV evidence by force. Back in the basement, Bones takes charge and leads the group in an escape attempt. But just as they are about to get away, two of Pasha's men show up to finish them off. While hiding, Princess finds a box cutter in her bag. Without hesitation, Bones ties the blade to her ballet shoe. And just like that, everything changes. Bones and the others launch a sudden attack. The guards never expect it. These delicate ballerinas turn into something far more dangerous. Once they realize how effective it is, all of them begin attaching blades to their ballet shoes, turning their dance into a weapon. Their escape suddenly comes to a halt when they realize that Chloe is still somewhere inside the hotel. Instead of going back, Princess chooses to run on her own. But her escape leads her into a horrifying room where the doctor is calmly cutting off Miss Thorna's fingers one by one. Somehow, she manages to slip away without being noticed. Meanwhile, Bones and two of her friends search for Chloe. Using information from Sonia, they finally locate her. Inside the room, Bones unexpectedly finds a hidden rifle under a table. Without wasting time, they try to escape again, but their path leads them into a kitchen, where Princess is already hiding in fear. Not long after, Devora discovers that two of Pasha's men have been killed. Realizing that the 5 ballerinas will only create bigger problems, she orders all her men to hunt them down. At the same time, Pasha panics after losing his guards and desperately contacts his father. When Devora hears that the mafia boss is finally coming to the hotel with his men, she quietly hides her excitement. With so many enemies closing in, the ballerinas are eventually cornered. But Bones refuses to give up. She quickly organizes the group into a ballet formation, and with sheer courage, they begin to fight back while moving in sync. Gunfire suddenly erupts, forcing them into a desperate situation. But Chloe steps in and does something unexpected. She creates a makeshift bomb, wiping out the remaining attackers chasing them. Amid the chaos, Devora suddenly activates multiple bombs throughout the hotel. Then she confronts Bones, who is holding her ground so the others can escape. Bones fires at her, but runs out of bullets, leaving her vulnerable. That moment forces Pasha out of hiding, and this is where the truth finally comes out. Everything Devora has done was never about the ballerinas. It was all part of a larger plan to lure Markovich, the mafia boss and Pasha's father, to the hotel. Without hesitation, Devora turns her gun and shoots Pasha. Right in front of Bones, Devora reveals her past. When she was just 8 years old, she was already seen as a gifted ballerina. But her life was destroyed when her father borrowed money from Markovich. When he failed to repay the debt, Markovich killed him and cut off one of Devora's legs. In that moment, her dream of becoming a ballerina was taken away forever. That is why she's been waiting all this time. Not for survival, not for power, but for revenge against the man who ruined her life. Not long after, the doctor is ordered to eliminate Bones. Without hesitation, he prepares to cut off her leg first. But just before he can do it, Princess arrives at the perfect moment and takes him down. At that same time, Markovich finally arrives at the hotel with his men. Seeing the mafia forces closing in, Grace, Zoe, and Chloe rush back inside to find Bones and Princess. Meanwhile, those two are holding Pasha hostage, locked up earlier by Devora. But everything quickly spirals out of control. Markovich and his men storm the area and open fire, turning the entire inn into chaos. In the middle of it all, Devora finally reveals the truth. She admits that she used Miss Thorna's death to lure Markovich to the hotel. Then, for the first time, she lets the ballerinas go, telling them to leave and keep chasing their dreams. Moments later, Devora faces Markovich directly, and without hesitation, she detonates the explosives she planted, burying both herself and the man who destroyed her life. A massive explosion tears through the hotel. Somehow, Bones and the others survive. Using the mafia's motorcycles, they race toward the ballet competition without even stopping to change their clothes. Covered in blood, exhausted but still standing, the 5 ballerinas step onto the stage, and in the end, they perform. So the moral of the story is never trust a random luxury hotel in the middle of nowhere, and maybe ballet shoes are actually the deadliest weapons ever.